Welcome, friends. Welcome to another episode of Global Focus, where we dive deep into the forces shaping our world. Today, we explore a topic that's as complex as it is crucial: Bharat's power play, a geopolitical analysis of India's neighbors and global influence. Joining us today is Dr. Adityanjee, an expert in global affairs and a keen observer of India's strategic maneuvers. Dr. Adityanjee is the president of Council for Strategic Affairs. Dr. Adityanjee, we are thrilled to have you here today. Your insight will undoubtedly shed light on the intricate balance India maintains with its neighbors and its ambition on the world stage. Before we dive in, let me leave you with this thought. Can a rising power like India redefine the rules of geopolitics while juggling the pressures of a volatile neighborhood? Let's find out. So welcome, Dr. Adityanjee. Welcome to our platform once again.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for inviting me on Global Focus. I'm very happy to be here and hope we have a good conversation.
Yes, sir. So moving to my first question, how is India's relationship with its neighbors, particularly China and Pakistan, shaping its geopolitical strategy?
Well, when we talk about India's foreign policy, there have been phases. So it's not, unitary or in one direction. And there have been a lot of confusion also. What are the objectives of India's foreign policy?
Yeah.
It is true that India had global ambitions from the beginning when transfer of power happened in 1947.
Yeah.
Having said that, we always scout out to the interests of our neighbors, whose basic aim was to keep India boxed into the region, Indian subcontinent region.
Yeah.
And to that extent, more specifically, China has been highly successful. That India is not able to play a global role, is boxed into what is called Indian subcontinent or what Americans call South Asia.
Yeah.
And in that process, they've created a monkey on India's back, which is a nuclear Pakistan. And India has not been able to, rise to its potential because of these limitations, because we did not do our homework properly. So we are facing a situation that with each day, the region, the neighborhood, India's near abroad becomes more and more volatile. We became silent spectator of what continues to happen in the name of quote unquote, a term that was coined from 2005 to 2014, strategic patience, strategic restraint.
Yeah.
And although India's foreign policy post 2014 has become more self-assertive, I think there's need for more active foreign policy, more activist foreign policy to guard our interests.
Yes.
Not necessarily more muscular foreign policy, but more activist foreign policy in guarding our interests. And that is being reflected by what is happening in the region, lock, stock, and barrel, pretty much all around India.
So what role does India's economic growth and technological advancement play in enhancing its global influence?
Look, you cannot have hard power hard power for any country unless your economic base is strong.
Yeah. Right.
And the problem has been that since transfer of power happened in 47, we have not stabilized our economy for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
We have not done well in various sectors. Most important is manufacturing.
Yeah.
In military industrial complex, we have tried to follow the leads of rest of the world in technological innovation, but there's not a single area where we are number one.
Yes, sir.
We always take pride. We are the sixth nation in achieving this target or that technology or that
Yeah.
particular feat. We are the fourth nation in docking to satellites. Where are we number one? I mean, it has been too long to continue to blame colonial powers, this or that.
Yes.
Look at China, you know, they got opportunity after their, rapprochement with
Mm-hmm.
the United States,
Yeah.
and they jumped at it. Today, China controls 69% of the rare earth production in the entire world. China has the largest navy in the entire world. China is a space superpower. They have an international space station. Where are we? So, what lies within us? Without economic growth, you cannot accumulate hard power. We keep on harping on soft power of India.
Mm-hmm.
That does not lead us anywhere.
Yeah.
We can talk anything about soft power, but soft power without hard power, without smart power is nothing.
Yes.
And at the time of crisis, nobody comes to your side. That is very, very sad. You may have soft power, you may have friendly relationships, you may say that we are the Vishwaguru, we are the leader in yoga or whatever. But when there's a crisis in the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
all your so-called friendly nations shy away from your support.
Yeah. Like Bangladesh.
Either Bangladesh or for that matter, what happened, you know, when there was a government change in Maldives,
Mm.
a country we had been helping unconditionally,
Yeah.
they run to Turkey or Turkey and then to China and then abuse us, our leaders, and we don't do anything. They tell us to take away our, military staff who were managing two of the aircrafts that we had gifted to them. They've set a deadline. So I think our foreign policy has been characterized by a lack of assertiveness, lack of guarding self-interest, and very high on hyperbole and rhetoric. I think we do not understand what is real politic in international relations. Yes, it's good to have friends, it's good to do good deeds like Vaccine Maitri Abhiyan
Mm.
that gets you friends internationally, international goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
But there are things that require assertiveness in hard power. And I think that has been the deficiency that we have always failed to recognize that, failed to correct the situation so that situation does not go adversely against us, like it happened in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
How come we did not foresee what was going to happen? How come we did not foresee the coup, the military installed coup? How
Mm.
come we did not have an alternative set of players in that particular country? Somebody has to take the responsibility. Now, in American lingo or terminology, people will be asking question, who lost Bangladesh for India?
So can India successfully balance its non-aligned stance while fostering deeper ties with superpowers like US and Russia?
So I do have a problem with non-aligned stance. Uh, I think what we have is guarding our own interest, and we should focus on that instead of saying we are non-aligned, which has totally different meaning.
Yeah.
Uh, we should say that we are aligned with any country or any set of countries on issues that are beneficial to us. So neither we are non-aligned, nor are we are aligned to a particular group or particular country. We have permanent interests in favor of our nation, and we will align or we'll work with anyone. So it is an era of issue alignment rather than country alignment or ideology alignment or group alignment.
Yeah.
And we also need to make it very clear that we are in an era of contested multipolarity in which so-called superpowers are showing a decline. One superpower disappeared, the successor state is a declining power. The other reigning superpower is also in a process of slow decline, not steep decline, but slow decline. There's a rising hegemon that also is showing some internal turmoil. So we are in an era of contested multipolarity. And yes, we'll work with all of you depending upon what issue is concerned, what is our issue, rather than getting swayed by the rhetoric of democracy, human rights, uh, new world order, or whatever you may call, whatever is the rule-based order, whatever is the jargon in geopolitics of the day. I think India's prime responsibility is to guard her own national interests, and that is what we should say, rather than trying to adjust our postures related to one country or the other country or appease one or, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There has to be some consistency.
And how does India's cultural and soft power contribute to its global standing against the rising geopolitical tensions?
I've already said that soft power with devoid of hard power is useless power.
Yeah.
Yes, we may say that we have soft power, we have been saying that. Nobody wants to listen to that rhetoric. Because when it comes to actual hard geopolitical issues, soft power becomes irrelevant. Now, we say that we have civilizational relationship with Iran,
Mm.
but on issue of Iran, of Jammu and Kashmir, Iran never supported us.
Yeah.
On the other hand, well, we have civilizational relationship with Iran, but if United States put sanctions on Iran and our companies are affected by tertiary sanction, we
Mm.
get bowed down and we stop buying oil from Iran. But at the same time, China continues to buy oil from Iran. I mean, and that buys on concession. Uh, United States put sanctions on Venezuela and we stopped buying oil from Venezuela. And then prior to Venezuela elections, United States actually relaxes the sanctions on Venezuela in the hope that Venezuela could be quote unquote democratized.
Mhm.
And that allows us to buy oil again from Venezuela. So why are we doing that? Is that superpower helping India's supreme interest, supreme national interest? I have serious doubts. So why can't you develop a spine and say that this is our region, we are an independent sovereign state. We are not concerned what is your domestic law. We are not concerned what are your geopolitical objectives. We have our own geopolitical objectives. Now, if we can harmonize with yours, that's fine. If we cannot, then we will exercise our own sovereignty and we will do commerce with any country that we deem necessary.
So do it.
Our talk about being, non-aggressor, having never attack the country, being Vishwamitra, with being Vishwaguru. All that is all rhetoric, but devoid of any substance.
So do you think after 2014, after this stance in the geopolitical matters have changed, and does it have any impact on the international relations?
It has changed. There's no doubt that it has not changed. It has changed. I'm not saying it has not changed. That's why I was saying that, in the decade of 2005 to 2014, we were harping on the rhetoric of strategic patience or strategic restraint. Now we are showing more activism, more assertiveness. And one example of that assertiveness is India's refusal to stop purchasing oil and gas from Russia, despite European and American sanctions on Russia. So
Yeah.
that is an instance of India's self-assertive policy, foreign policy, and it is giving us dividends. The critics from abroad, especially from the Western imperialistic world,
Yeah.
now have got that message across that India is not going to kowtow to them. But there are similar such
Yeah.
areas where India needs to adjust the foreign policy. I'll give you another example. We had in 2005 this uh, process started of civil nuclear deal, which culminated in 2008 in 123 agreement
Yeah.
and nuclear deal.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Did we get any nuclear reactors from United States?
No.
Zilch.
Nothing.
Did we get any benefit? We even did not get actually membership of nuclear supplier group.
Yeah.
Now you find out in 2025 that
Yeah.
United States is withdrawing some sanctions on India's nuclear entities, including BARC. So if you sign this agreement in 2008, finally,
Mhm.
the Hyde Act was passed in the United States, what you call Congress or our equivalent of Parliament. Why did it take so much of time for United States to remove sanctions? In other words, we were so taken back by the US pressure,
Mm.
we didn't even whimper that what is the use of this Hyde Act if you are still putting our entities on sanctions?
Yeah.
So there is need for more self-assertiveness. There is need for judicious admixture of soft power, hard power, smart power, self-assertiveness, assertion of our own sovereignty. And there is need for some consistency in guarding India's geopolitical and geoeconomic interests without being bullied by powerful lobbies, powerful countries, and powerful groupings internationally.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was all the question I had for you today. So that's it for today's episode of Global Focus. We hope this deep dive into India's geopolitical strategies and challenges has offered your valuable insight into how nations navigate the complex web of international relations. A big thank you to you, Dr. Adityanjee, for sharing such a profound perspective. Your expertise has truly enriched this discussion. To our
Thank you
listeners,
very much indeed, Mr. Sinha. The only last word I will say is that my hope is that in future, governments of India, whichever governments come, will maintain a stern, more self-assertive international posture so that India and Indians are not at receiving ends of any Tom, Dick, and Harry,
right.
whether it's our own neighborhood, our near abroad, or
Mm,
whether that's international arena, so that we should stop acting as a lamb state and try to behave like a rising power, not necessarily superpower, but as a rising power that is confident of its goal, its aspirations, and its conduct.
Yes,
That's all.
yes. So, to our listeners, remember, understanding geopolitics is not just about observing nations. It's about understanding how their actions ripple through our world. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep your focus on global affairs. Thank you, Dr. Adityanjee. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm pleased.